Welcome to the History, Law, and Justice Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Buckner, a lawyer and amateur historian. I will explore with you legal issues affecting governance, society, and culture of the United States and other civilizations, both past and present, using history as my guide. Before we begin the episode, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you're invited to share your thoughts on today's topic or anything dealing with history and the law in the comment sections below or on our social media platforms. Suppose the Democratic nominee for president, Joe Biden, selects former presidents Barack Obama or Bill Clinton as his vice presidential running mate. Or let's just suppose that current President Donald Trump replaces Vice President Mike Pence with former President George W. Bush. Since Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama were elected to the office of the president twice, could they constitutionally be part of a national ticket and, if elected, become sworn in as Vice President of the United States? Although this question has never been addressed by the U.S. Supreme Court, the short answer appears to be yes. Well, how is that legally possible? Well, let's first look at the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, which states that the vice president shall become president if the president cannot serve for reasons of death or resignation. Next, the 12th Amendment to the Federal Constitution declares that no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of the president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. Finally, the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution limits a president to 2 terms in office. So, does that mean that the 12th and 22nd Amendments will prevent a former 2-term president from running and serving as vice president? Not necessarily. The 22nd Amendment to the Constitution prevents a person from being elected to more than 2 terms as president. That provision is silent on whether a person can serve for more than 2 terms as president. That means that a 2-term elected president could subsequently serve as vice president and assume office as president if the sitting president was assassinated, impeached, or was unable to serve for other reasons. For example, let's use a hypothetical. Let's say Joe Biden picks Bill Clinton as his vice presidential running mate in 2020. If Biden and Clinton earn the most votes for their respective offices in the Electoral College, and then President Biden tragically becomes incapacitated or is unable to perform his duties as president, under the 25th Amendment, a hypothetical Vice President Clinton, who was not elected to the office of president, could legally assume the presidency. That same line of logic for presidential eligibility would apply if Presidents Clinton, Bush, or Obama followed the path set forth by the 6th President of the United States, John Quincy Adams, who from 1831 to 1848 served in the U.S. House of Representatives following his presidency. In this second hypothetical, Presidents Clinton, Bush, or Obama serve in the House or the Senate, and later are elected Speaker of the House or become President pro tempore of the Senate. Under the current presidential succession law, if the president and vice president died, then a hypothetical Speaker Clinton, Bush, or Obama will be eligible to serve as president. Or a president pro tempore, Clinton, Bush, or Obama, would be in line of succession if the Speaker could no longer serve as president. As you can see, the United States Constitution is full of surprises and a never-ending list of unresolved legal mysteries. You have just listened to the History, Law, and Justice Podcast with your host, Michael Buckner. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or feedback on this episode, Michael's contact information is included in the description box. Citations to sources used to prepare this episode are also listed in the description box. Finally, don't forget to click on the link to subscribe to receive the next episode of this podcast. Remember to let history serve as your roadmap for future success.